here. Okay. Like Cindy said, we're just thrilled that you all are here, and we want you to get the most out of it. So I always put, and she does too, we put a lot of thought in how we're going to teach. For those of you, and all of you have heard me talk about the clear mental picture, that's always forefront on my mind. So that's why I got these little toys out here, is to create some visual images. And you know, it's just as beneficial to know what you don't want to look like as what you do want to look like. And this horse here is an example of what you don't want to look like. You know, he's just kind of there. There's not much going on other than he's standing up there taking on air. He doesn't have a posture that looks like to me that he would be very good to ride even. You know, he's just kind of blasé. And so anyway, that's kind of the image that creates in me. You know, and it's a dummy, you know, so it's not a, you know, a telltale sign. But whenever you see a horse that's standing kind of like that, they'll usually be pretty heavy. They'll be kind of lethargic acting, and you know, they make you work at what you're doing. So I need my bag full of tricks there. The reason that, you know, I think the reason anybody wants to get involved with a horse and a cow, like Jonathan said, it's fun, you know, and we want to do it in a way that it continues to be fun. And when we go to town and it doesn't work out like we think it should, that's part of it. And if we let that experience get in the way, it ceases to be fun. We feel like we don't belong. We feel like that we're out of place. We feel like we're trying to get into a clique where everybody's got everything figured out and we're the only ones that don't know how to do nothing. And I've been there a lot of times, and I just hate that feeling. So that's what I'm going to do my best today and tomorrow, is to arm you with a thought process that you can be the best that you can be all the time when you're there. And just what I'm going to do my best to do as well is teach you how to not take it personally when your horse doesn't do what you want at the moment, when the cow doesn't do what you want at the moment. Because right there, if we get emotionally involved and we get frustrated with our horse, we get frustrated with ourselves, we'll never get frustrated with the cow. And the cow's got a mind of his own. He's going to do what cows do. Some of them react, you know, pretty, you know, they'll just surprise you. You know, they look like they're pretty gentle until you get up there and you've got a little influence on, and all of a sudden that goes out the window, and now he acts like he's schizophrenic and he's scared and wherever he wants to go, and you're sitting on a horse at that moment that's probably not ready to move with that cow. He hasn't been prepared to move with that cow. So that's what this 2 days is going to be mainly consistent of, is how to get control of your horse's feet through the posture of the horse. How to get you in a position to where you're going to have the biggest advantage no matter what the cow does, and you can respond according to what you're seeing. And it's basically, it's how I ride all the time. It's how I do anything with a horse. I use a clear mental picture. I know what I want them to look like and do all the time, but it's not some kind of a hocus pocus thing that you just sit on the couch and imagine it and it come out and it all of a sudden happens. You've got to let it unfold as it's happening. So when you see this, it tells you to do that. When you see that, it tells you to do this. You see that everything's got to work together. But first off, we got to know what we're looking for, and then most importantly, why we're doing what we're doing. So I'm going to introduce you to a theory that's been around a long time that I haven't spoken of much, but I call it the bubble theory. So The bubble theory is this, that around you guys, around that horse, around this table, there is a field of energy. And that field of energy is can be changed, the size of it can be changed depending on the amount of energy that is coming from the animal, depending on how the animals view the fence, for example. Fence has an aura about it. If we were riding out here and this table hadn't been out here, you're going to find that this table would have an aura. All of a sudden your horse is going to see that. And that table is going to have an influence over your horse. So these are naturally occurring things that when you become aware of really help you. We know it, instinctively when we're talking to people, because all of us have had people get in our space. It makes you want to just back up and get uncomfortable. Or you've had the experience of trying to talk to somebody, and they're off out the other side, that they don't hear you, or to act like they don't hear you, and you feel like you're talking to yourself. That's frustrating as well. But there's a way of positioning yourself, and sometimes it's as simple as leaning in a little bit or leaning back. You can engage a person with your eyesight, with your expression, with all these things to get that attention, and it has to do with this bubble that I'm talking about. The shape of that bubble can change as well, and this is the most important thing I want you to get out of this weekend, is this that I'm getting ready to talk to you about. Now I can use that. We got a cow here. All right. Now, that cow has some shape. See her looking off to the right? And when she's looking off to the right, that bubble from that cow doesn't have as much influence out to the right as it does to the left. If you're on this side of that cow, she can't see you, but she's pushing on you. Right here, she's pushing on you. And if you meet her, with a horse that is shaped up the same way, see that? The horse is looking left, the cow is looking right. You've got body-to-body contact here. And this won't work. Neither horse can see the cow, or the cow can't see the horse. So all we've got is blind football type contact. Boom! You're gonna knock that cow around. And that's what all of you mentioned that you don't want to do when you're in town. You don't want to feel like that you're just ramming and jamming and trying to force things to happen. So what do? You watch, you wait, you see. You stay emotionally neutral. Don't get involved, just breathe. Sit out there and breathe. And pretty soon, that cow will turn and look at you. Now then, we've got the ability now to influence this cow in a softer way. See, we can move a little bit now and get a response that we want. So, therefore, to me, body part control of our horses is probably the most important thing that we're going to need to be able to help these horses who, it doesn't matter how well they're bred. They can be out of on several world champions but they still got to be trained. They don't just work cows. Now, Let me take this back a little bit. They'll work a cow. Most horses will do this after a little while of experiencing. And if you're not careful, you'll let them horses work a cow in a way that you can't hardly untrain to get them to where you can get them to be useful to you in the games that we've created to play in town, whether it be sorting, whether it be cutting, whether it be working cow. It doesn't matter what event you're doing. If we don't step up there initially and help those horses to be able to work a cow correctly, then you're going to look out of place when you're there. You're going to look like you don't belong. And horses are pretty good about wanting to take over that way. They do like working a cow, so to speak. But they still all have to be trained how to listen to you in a way that you can position that body to make it easy for them to work that cow. Otherwise, they're gonna get bracy and stiff and use their body as a tool against what we want. So there is a body position. I hadn't thought of it this way until I was getting my thoughts ready for this. You know, that's why the teaching always helps me, because it causes me to think more of how can I get my point across. But in the English world, the dressage world, there is a movement that they do quite often, and I've heard them say that when a horse and a rider know how to do this movement correctly, about everything else falls in place. And it fits in what we're doing. And basically what it is that having a horse with his front feet on one track and the back feet on another track and traveling in a straight line like that. Shoulder to the left, hips are off to the right just a little bit. And how do we get that position? You know, that's going to maintain a lot for us today, is how we get our horses to do that. It's not as difficult as you might think. Now, the other thing that we're going to need is hind end control. So that is going to be, we want to have the ability to put the hip in and the shoulders off the other side, okay? So that we can influence the hind end just as much as we do the front end, but we've got to be able to do that independently. We've got to be able to move the front end and not move the hind end, and we've got to be able to move the hind end and not move the front end. If we can't do that, we're going to have a hard time helping our horse when the energy level of the cow gets involved and it's going faster than we want. We're going to have a hard time helping them to be comfortable while we're doing this. So that's why, you know, the body part control is so important.
Can I get you to talk, Dennis, again about that positioning of that horse that you talked about with the feet?
Let me get one more right here.
And exactly where the shoulder, which shoulder is where.
Okay. Here's a little model of a horse that is, you know, the way a cutting horse should look. So maybe it'd be a little bit easier to see in that. And you see that front end is slightly closer to the cow than the back end is. That's all we need to do. Now, if we can get that horse to travel straight across the pen like that, we're going to be in pretty good shape. Now, when they're in this position and we're watching the cow's eye, we can see when that cow is getting ready to turn. We can see when that cow is getting ready to stop. So then we can help our horse to get ready to stop and do what it needs to do if we're paying attention out here. If we're just kind of in the ozone and we're looking, we see a cow out there, but we're not reading the expression of that cow, you know, we're not cowy enough ourselves, it's going to be hard for our horses to get very cowy. And that's where I have to work on myself all the time as well, because I'll get to looking at my horse, trying to fix him, and I unhook from the cow. If I'm not watching the cow, the horse is not watching the cow either. But that's something that we've got to train ourselves to do, is to be able to look out there, do what we need to do, and feel our horse underneath us. So we're feeling our horse and looking at the cow. But that body position, you see, that has to do with this bubble effect. When this horse is in this position right here, slightly arced around, not just bent completely around, but slightly arced, and there is a soft spot right here. If that horse is shoulder braced right here, which what it would feel like on this other side, that's gonna change the shape of that bubble. So around this horse that's shaped up like this, it's almost like that bubble is like a half moon shape here, which creates a pocket of comfort for that cow to look into. It creates a pocket of comfort where that cow can slow down in. If we're bracing up, you know, body to body, we're speeding the cow up. We've got a hard spot here now because this side of that horse is rounded out like this. We're making the cow go faster. We're scaring the cow, and we're probably going to scare our horse and ourselves because it's getting so fast now that we can't hardly keep her head on when we're going across the pen. And that doesn't help you at all, you know, when in any situation, except maybe, you know, in these games that we create. Sometime down the road, you've got to have the ability to stand on the gas and stay with those cows and fight them off. But you can't start there. So we're at the starting place of how to position these horses, how to think, how to, you know, realize that the shape of this horse is really influencing what this cow is going to do. And the shape of the cow will influence things as well. Because if that cow's looking in like this, we can move this horse forward just a little bit like that, and that cow's probably going to stop. If that cow's looking off over there, we can ride way out here, and that cow ain't going to stop. And that's going to take the confidence out of your horse. Because if you get rode off way out here and that cow ain't paying no attention to you, all of a sudden when it does look around, then it's going to go like this, and your horse is going to get caught out here, and he can't make that turn. So now he's scared. So now he grabs the bit and runs off out of here this way. He just quits the game on you because you got him in a position where he was defeated. And that's why we've got to learn to keep ourselves and our horses in what I call a position of advantage all the time. Because yes, we want to have influence over the cow, but we can only influence the cow when the cow will let us. Sometimes we've got to play defense and wait. That cow might be going along and there's no influence. We can't forcefully stop that cow. So that's what the fence work really though is all about, is that they're going to be closer. There's going to be more influence. That's why it gets so fast. They're going down through there, and when they step up there, when you're that close, yes, you're going to influence, and that's what's going to turn that cow off. Again, though, that's not a starting place. You can't start going down the fence. That's when we're going to start with the flag. That flag's not going to be moving very fast, and we're going to be mainly focused on, even before we get to the flag, can we move that front end over? Can we get that horse to travel in a straight line when he's doing it? We're going to use two simple exercises to accomplish that. And for those of you that have been here much in the last few years, you've heard me talk about the looking where you're going exercise and the looking where you've been exercise. the looking where you're going exercise, let's use this cow right here, is we're gonna walk a circle in one direction, and we wanna be looking in a way that we maintain a symmetrical circle. You know, we want to be looking out at least halfway around that corner, around that circle, and we want to lay a clear map that we can say, and see, it's easy with this table here because I can stay the same distance from that table as I'm going around. You know, I just imagine I've got a string attached there, and I'm just going around this thing like a compass out here. That's a symmetrical circle. That's not easy to do. Because I'll guarantee you, every circle that you try to ride with the horse, there's a place where that horse is going to want to fall in, look this way, and then there's a place where he's going to want to bow out, going the other way. So walking that simple circle around gives us a chance to be on both sides of the horse in one direction. Okay? So let's say that we're going along here on a straight line, and now we're going to position ourselves like that. Can you visualize a horse being under me and my body when it went from being squared up straight away this way, and I made that adjustment to come here? Can you see that horse underneath me right now, just shaped up to go around that corner? I didn't just do it with inside bridle rein. I did it with changing my shoulders. I did it with, if I needed a little outside bridle rein to help me, I could get that. I did it maybe with, if that horse didn't soften up and look in there, I'll move that bit just a little bit in his mouth, get that softness, boom, right there. And when I got that soft feel, and then I influenced the forward motion, maybe inside leg, maybe both legs, whatever I feel the horse doing, maybe outside leg. If I feel him coming out here, outside leg. If I feel him going in here, inside leg. I feel him doing this, both legs. You see, there's not a mechanical thing that you can do every time that's going to work every time. We've got to tie it to what is going on in the moment. And that's so important no matter what we're doing. You know, we've got to be in the moment as well. And sometimes that's a foreign concept to us. When life gets a hold of us, we get distracted with, you know, whatever. And it's hard to get that out of your mind. So it's got you distracted. If you're thinking about something that went on yesterday and you're sitting on your horse, you're not in the moment. Or if you're worried about something that hasn't happened yet, you're not in the moment. And your horse is going to say, I don't know where you are, but you ain't here. And they won't respond to you. So this becomes a discipline that we've got to train ourselves to do. And I think it's probably one of the more important things that we can do, because that's the only way that you can look in a cow's eye and see what that cow's thinking about doing. If you're not in the moment, you won't even see a cow's eye. And I've been there a lot of times where I was looking right at it, but I didn't see. You know, and I'm sitting right on it. I didn't feel it because I wasn't there. So it's an ongoing discipline that I personally work on myself every time I'm around any horse to do that. And you know, I know it's probably got to be oftentimes you know, when you watch somebody like myself that does this all the time, the minute I get a hold of that horse, it's like I'm in another world, but I'm really there in the moment, watching what's going on right now. And the reason that I get that way is because I've learned over the years the importance of what every step matters, what every thought matters, every breath that horse takes. You know, every move we make has influence. We're either there helping our horse in the moment, or we're part of the problem. You know, so that's why I'm hoping that these concepts of the bubble and the body position are going to be tools for you that you can implement anywhere. And I said there were going to be 2 tools that we use to get this body position. So we've got the looking where you're going exercise. The next one is the looking where you're bent. So in this one, I'm going to position myself out here, but I want to ride on the same circle that I was going on, to the right in this case, around there, but I want the horse to look off to the left. And I need that horse to shape up to the left right here. Okay? Now, my right hand and my left leg are going to work together, and this right hand, when I'm letting this looking where you've been exercise going, is essentially leading the shoulder to the right. If that's not going, I'll use that right leg, and there that shape comes. Okay, when that happens, you've got to let your horse feel freedom in that moment. Okay, and as he's going around, they'll get soft like this, and they'll just carry you around there real nice, and you can stay right on that symmetrical circle. So when might we use that? Let's say we're going down here, and we want to stay shaped up. The cow's over here. We want to stay shaped up to the cow, and we've got front feet on the inside track. We've got back feet on the outside. That horse is going along, but all of a sudden we feel our horse pushing on the cow. What do? Horses tend to do that. They'll get in a hurry, and they'll want to chest up, and they'll want to push in there as well. So then the looking where you've been exercise becomes a tool. Soften that horse, get him off of there. Listen to me, stay off over here. And when I went from there to here, away from the cow, I took the speed away from the cow. The cow probably stopped as soon as I did that, left, because I quit pushing on it. And then I've got my horse, thinking, come on around here. So later on, when we're working that flag out across there, and that horse wants to come up in here, we've got to have the ability to get that body back over here and still be looking in there. But yet we don't want to overdo this to the point to where we've got the horse now hip close to the cow. Okay? We'll do that later on. That's a down the road thing. But in the beginning, we don't want to do that, because that will take the cow out of a horse initially. It makes it too hard to make this turn, so they want to quit you. They want to go on this way. So that's why we want to have that front end a little bit closer to the cow, but then traveling a straight line as we're going across. Now, once we get to this side, this is what I would call an end. We're gonna stop. The cow ain't going nowhere because the fence is right there, so it's going to stop. The cow might run off that way, and the cow might stand there and do nothing. The cow might go back this way. Doesn't matter. We're going to stop, and we're going to watch and see what that cow does. If the cow runs off to the left, turns away, we're going to sit here and do nothing. If the cow stands there and does nothing, we're going to sit here and do nothing. If the cow moves, then the first move that we're going to have is back, like this. Keeping that same front closer to the back. Now, that's a position going backwards that we're going to have to teach you and your horse how to keep that. Because what's going to happen is the horse is going to want to get real straight, or they're going to flip the hip out of there and want to face up too quickly. And that won't work. So we're going to use inside leg right here and our hands to help that horse to pick that shoulder up, hold that shoulder straight up and back up there real soft. And what that's going to do is position that horse to where he's got that soft spot that will draw that cow in there, And then when that cow starts coming by, you're going to watch that cow. And I think of it like if I've got a halter on the cow and a halter on my horse, and that cow turns and goes back through here, now it's going to pull my horse through that turn. You see, if I let my horse turn too quickly, I'm in the way. I'm going to just chase the cow back to the fence or chase it off. But if I let that cow commit to going this way, I've got my horse loaded up on his hip now, and then he's going to make this turn like this. He's going to step through my legs are the horse's back legs now. He's going to make a step like that. He's going to come around, and now in that turn, when I take my horse's front end from there to here, we moved fast enough that we got even with the cow in that turn. And it wasn't a hurried turn because we know we've got the ability. Horse's head's here, he rocks back, moves his head 12 feet in a turn, see? From his tail to his head is 6 foot, from his tail to his head is 6 foot. If he draws back and he moves that front end through, he made a 12-foot move. How long is it going to take a cow to go 12 feet? See? So that dynamic of the sheer size of the horse gives us the ability to slow down. And that's not natural to us. We're going to see that cow go and we think we're late, we're going to get big. And then we chase our horse up in there like this, and he comes around, all of a sudden he's out of position and he's pushing on the cow. Now we've got the ram and jam. So the body alignment, is going to keep the softness in there. It's going to slow things down and help you more than anything. So.